Happy Wednesday, socialites. Welcome to the best damn social club in the universe. I am your host, Jedi ASU, and thank you so much for taking a short bit of your Wednesday night and spending it with me and my guests, where we finally thank the heavens, thank the universe, whoever you would like to. We're actually going to talk about some ASU football. Meeting USC in the Coliseum this Saturday for an early game. We're going to jump right on into this one as well. Have a fantastic panel of guests. So I am extremely excited to be hosting this discussion. So as always, make sure you pour yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get social. Everyone, you are on camera. Welcome to the 42 Social Club. We have Ms. Becca Winn. We have
Hello.
Matt Pinnick and
Yo,
Kyle Murphy. How's everyone? Happy Wednesday. Because again, I'm still blurred. But anyone, thank you again. Becca, kick us off. How excited are you that we actually finally get, as Big E called it, a seasonito?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost hard to get back into the mindset. I was telling my boyfriend, who's an A&M fan, unfortunately, which I still have PTSD from that game, so not to bring that up. But the fact that we are even getting back into the mindset of football it's just a complete change. I was like, it's so nice and relaxing watching you stress, but it's the best and worst stress. And so I've definitely missed it and can't wait until we start back up. And I think there's nothing better besides Pac-12 after dark than Pac-12 very early morning.
Yeah, exactly. Well before brunch. It's not, I don't even know if we can call it breakfast. How about you, Matt? What are you thinking?
it's been an interesting kind of tug of war,
Right.
watching or hearing that we weren't going to have a season, and then we might. Well, what's the Big Ten going to do? Okay, well now we're going to do something. What's going to be later? And so I didn't really know what to. I was just kind of wait and see. And then as we're getting closer now, and I'm pumped. I mean, the only negative is not being able to pack Sun Devil Stadium and hear the electricity there and all that sort of stuff. But just to have ASU football back in 2020, I mean, I'll take it.
Absolutely. And kind of Mountain West kind of filled that. But for you, Kyle, having been, a player and, listening to Brad Denny's podcast today, talking with Frank Darby, is the crowd going to be a difference, right? For given your experience, right? How is that going to be? I mean, could you imagine playing into an empty stadium?
I mean, to a degree. I mean, we used to have scrimmages in there. So, I mean, I've definitely been in there when it's been empty and experienced it. I mean, honestly, when you're playing, you're not really focused on the crowd. As I tell people, the two things that you really notice is when you're home, if when things you go well, right? If you're a lineman, you're usually not seeing everything. So, when things go well, the crowd goes crazy. And then the opposite when you're on the road, when things are going well, right? The crowd's quiet, which is the best. For as great as it is playing it in front of your home crowd and that excitement, but making another crowd, shut up there's not much better than that. But I mean, I'm excited to watch the guys. I mean, I know that feeling. I know they're excited to get out there. I know it's been a long wait, the ups and downs, what's going to happen. So, I mean, if I was them, it would be the hardest time to deal with, right? Because you are excited, but you also, you understand, while I'm talking about when it's happening, right? In terms of decision making, you also understand they're trying to do what's best for you, but you want to go.
Absolutely.
Right? You want to play. You want to do what you train all year to do. So, I mean, I'm excited to watch them and excited for them for sure.
It's going to be good, and I'm excited for it, especially that since it's so early. I'm actually really excited to see how we recover from the grog. Just if they slept at all. I mean, Becca, you're in Central Time Zone, so I mean,
Yes.
that's a 2 hours ahead, right? So at least it's a true noon kickoff for you. So at least you'll be able to, wake up at a reasonable hour where, I'll be up at 5 in the morning.
Which is still very, very early. I mean, even as complains about big noon games, I'm like, so it's definitely an early game. But I think at this point, it's just returning to a sense of normalcy a little bit for them. So it doesn't matter what time they're playing. If they're playing at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m, it really just doesn't matter. I just think they're excited to get back out on the field.
Absolutely. How about you, Matt? Your last thoughts before we jump into this is that, do you think the early hour is going to be that significant of an issue?
I don't, not for this first game. I think it's just going to be so much adrenaline, and they've been practicing and Zoom meetings and so much other stuff going on. They just want to get back on onto the field. And, you know, as a high school coach, I know that's how I felt when we finally got our season back. You know, it was just, let's go. Like, it doesn't matter the opponent. That we're playing Walgreens parking lot. Let's do something that we recognize from 2019, and
right.
that's football. So
Absolutely.
no, I think it'll be it may be a little sloppy initially, but no, I think they'll run right off adrenaline.
You had something, Kyle, or are you good to go?
Well, I was just going to say it's not the same as if you had to fly back east, right, and play that game. So, you know, it's two teams that are both going to have to get up at the exact same time, right, in order to play that game. So I would think it would be a much bigger difference if, you know, ASU had to go to, you know, the Midwest and play at that time, because then you're actually, you know, it's not on equal footing, you know, so to speak, we're back east. Right. This, I think, you know, as already, you know, Matt said and Becca said, they're going to be excited to play, you know, whatever, you know, 5 a.m., 12 midnight, you know, 9 a.m. It's not going to really matter. It's just something for fans more to talk about and us yell at Larry Scott about.
Jedi's favorite meme to post whatever time the kickoff is.
Exactly. My Michaela Maroney.
Fans are pissed no matter what.
Doesn't matter. I have to expand it to a 9 instead of 6 because now I have to include like a 7 a.m. kickoff. So, Ms. Becca, go ahead and kick us off. We're going to go ahead and talk about the offense. There was several details that I wanted to go through, but how do you, given everything you've read, how you're looking, and what else you've heard, how will Jaden Daniels do in this new offense? Your thoughts?
Well, I think the biggest thing is obviously Zach Hill knows this is about Jaden, and it's kind of more, he's, you know, focusing the offense on Jaden. And I think he, you know, Zach is very pass heavy from what I've seen in the past. And, you know, and that's his big focus. And I think that'll do wonders for Jaden. Would have done more wonders last year when we had a bunch of wide receivers. But Jaden's smart and he's competitive. And I don't see anything getting in his way of being successful. You know, he's clearly superstar, you know, has the tendencies of a superstar. He's there. He's right there. I don't see anything that's going to stop him from being successful this year, whatever the circumstances are.
Right. Matt, how about you, sir?
I'm a little more cautiously optimistic. You know, I'm a fan of the Zach Hill hire.
Agreed.
My whole thing is like, you know, I like the Boise State offense. They do a lot of formation versatility. They do a lot of motions, and their game planning is elite. But when you think of a Boise State quarterback, you don't think of a guy like Jaden Daniels that can kind of freestyle and kind of break out the offense on his own. They're more, I won't say system guys, but they're just not as dynamic as the quarterback that I think we have. And so I want to see how limited will this offense make him, or will he thrive because now it's got more of he doesn't have to rely solely on himself anymore.
Got it.
So,
that makes sense. Kyle, how about you, sir?
I think he'll have a great season. You know, as anything, you know, it's going to depend on what's around him in terms of how that develops. You know, as Becca said, he lost, you know, Ayuk, who left, obviously, and having a tremendous year with San Francisco, which is great. He's got young guys coming in. It's how have they been able to mesh, right? How's that gone? Obviously, practices are different. So it's all about, you know, timing and more so about trust. Right. What guy you want to know where a guy is going to come out of his break on particular routes, things of that nature. So, you know, protection. But I think he'll have the opportunity to use his, you know, kind of creativity no matter what offense is he in. You know, he is in. Reminds me, I mean, he's got a lot of Jake's qualities. I've said that before and I've said it on Twitter. He's got a lot of his mannerisms and how he moves. So, you know, and we played, you know, in the old traditional formations. So in terms of, you know, and Jake was able to do that. So I think Jaden will do the same thing. He's going to have a great year because he's a great talent. And, you know, from everything that you see, he wants to be great, but more so he wants to be great for the guys around him. It's not so much great for himself. And that always translates no matter what you're doing.
Absolutely. And to that point, right, who you're trying to make better, other than Jaden, you know, on the squad, Kyle, who else do you think we should watch on the offense, right? Who, given, again, all that you've read, all that you've seen and watched, who has Who have you heard that's caught your eye or piqued your interest?
I mean, the size of the offensive line, kind of looking at how West is, up to, 300 pounds or thereabouts, programs are always a smidge here or there. But even again, 295, that experience, seeing how he's grown, seeing how the offensive line meshes with the transfers,
Right.
which is always a big thing. How Jaden's year, he'll be his level in terms of, spectacular or, really good is going to really depend on that unit.
Right.
What kind of confidence they can give him early to allow that to grow, right? Because confidence does grow. And so I'm excited to see that. And I'm excited to see the young wide receivers, right?
Absolutely.
See how they mesh with him. So, I mean, there's a lot to look forward to, I think, in terms of
Agreed.
excitement, and how things play out. But I also think, as has been mentioned, early you got to be just kind of right. Got it. Those first couple of quarters, adrenaline, game action is always different, right? No matter how talented you are in high school, it is always much different when you step onto that field.
Exactly. And to you, Matt, who do you think? Because there's so many new faces, right? That everyone's in. Who's caught your eye?
Kind of just to segue off of what Kyle was saying, I think it'll be one of the young receivers. I think it'll be Johnny Wilson early.
Okay.
ASU always has a need for a big target down the red zone. And when we've had that guy, we've thrived in the red zone.
Right.
When we haven't had a big receiver, then they got to try to be more creative and take more chances. But a guy like that, a 4-star, jump out of the gym.
Right.
Everything I've read, he's been ripping it up at camp. That guy can get on the field early, even if it's just in red zone situations, and put some points on the board to help out the offense. So I'm really excited to see him.
It's again, like you said, everyone's been touting that wide receiver core that has come in. LV Bunkle and Shelty was LV Bunkle Shelt.
Yeah.
Someone correct me. Thank you. So
a
anyway,
lot of names, just like a Cosby.
And
kid.
you know what it is? I practiced that all day. I was writing. I biked 15 miles today, and I practiced that name over and over and over, and I still botched it up. Anyway, but yes, but like I said, it's all. How about you, Ms. Becca? What were you? Who's caught your eye?
And I think that you all hit on this, but I mean, there's just so many unknowns on offense right now. It really depends on the offensive line for Jaden. I think that's really going to determine his success. I think if we can take any notes from the NFL, as we've seen, even with the Cowboys, when going from the best offensive line to one of the worst, how much that impacted their season outside of them having the quarterback issues.
Right.
But another thing that I think will really determine, and something to watch on offense and defense and this whole team, is what you guys also hit on, was just keeping the emotions calm. Because another thing we've been seeing, obviously, in the NFL is just emotions getting completely out of control. Obviously, there's been way more fights and all of these things. And I don't think that's within the Herm Edwards, style of playing. And I don't think it would ever be acceptable. But these kids this is their life. Football is their life. They haven't been able to do this for so long. There's pent up, there's just so many factors that can go into this. But I really do think that the offensive line meshing here and understanding the new offense can benefit Jaden in ways that will make him very successful if it all pans out correctly.
Exactly. Nothing on the running backs. I mean, there's 3 whole new running backs. I mean, it was interesting how we're not hearing anything, from them. There's been some really positive feedback from them, but I guess they're going to be kind of the unsung heroes this year. I think it's really going to see.
Well, it's hard to follow, the footsteps that came before them. So
yeah, I mean, with Benjamin, Benjamin was 60% of the production. I did 65 protection, 67. No, it was just.
I guess where I would be interested, I think to all be, in terms of running the rock, all be fine. Like no matter what they do, they're gonna, because they're talented. It's gonna. I mean, again, any offense goes as the quarterback goes. So it's going to be about protection for those guys. Who picks up the protection, right? Who's able to be a part of that passing game? Because it's not going to just be running the ball, coming out of the backfield, doing those things. So, I mean, when I was there, we had 4 guys. Marlon Farlow was an exceptional back who didn't get on the field a whole bunch. So there's only so much to go around. So there is talent, but it's those other pieces that are going to determine who stays on the field, because they're all going to be able to run the ball. The key, going back to what Becca said, is same thing, is those guys are coming in and they're talented, and you're the best, right? Not only on your team, in your county, most likely your state, right? Or very close near, and in the nation. Now you're coming to a team that has, right? You're now coming to college and there's more of those. So there's less give. And so you can start to press, which then can press those emotions, right? And then everything else. So it's going to be really important that they lean on each other, how that works, right? So, but again, I think it's the pass blocking out of, catching balls out of the backfield. That's going to see, whoever's doing that the best, that's who's going to see the field.
Absolutely.
To me.
That's fair. And then
I expect kind of a committee approach, at least in the first game, but Herm doesn't seem to be a running back by committee type coach. He wants to find a bell cow, and then he's going to ride that guy until he can't ride him anymore. And so it's hard to really pick right now which guy that's going to be. I mean, I like the Trainum kid. I like his size and his physicality, but I also like AJ Carter, and he's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see.
Do you think that's something that Herm wants to do, or do you think he'll trust Zach Hill more with running by committee? Do you think? I think
from what he said in the interviews, it sounds like he's going to be hands off with Zach Hill, kind of like he was with Gonzalez, and just let him do what he does.
Got it.
And see where the chips may. That's probably the best approach.
Okay.
But yes, but I also think you can feel Herm Edwards on every offensive possession of last year, right? Mm-hmm. We are going to take the air out of the football. We're going to play defense. And that's what we're going to take some shots here and there. Mm-hmm. It's a very NFL approach, right?
That was him last year. And I think he realized
and that's
can't continually win like that.
So to use your words, I am cautiously optimistic, and I hope so.
Right.
Until I see it. And that's
right.
And I, like you, Matt, I've coached, so I understand that there is an ego to it, right? There is. Right. It's hard to give that up. Do I think Herm can? Absolutely. Do I think it's easy? No. And I think that's what will be interesting. And again, I'll keep referencing Becca's point. That's why everything just needs to, everybody's, you have new coordinators, you have new, completely different season, all of those things, right? You're going on the road. So, we just, again, not that ASU fans could get crazy or anything.
We're the most mellow, controlled fans on the planet. What are you talking about? And also the other thing too, do you think that Herm's hands on every play in the offense was more attributed to who the coordinator was versus, or is it really, look, he is definitely...
I don't think it was every play. I think it's just a philosophy. Okay. I 100% believe Herm wasn't a part of the game plan.
Right.
But there's a philosophy.
Okay.
That's more what I mean. Like in terms of
scheme,
yeah. I would agree. Like he just got, your scheme is your scheme and he's going to let you do your scheme. But within that scheme, here's my philosophy and here's what I want to have happen. Right.
Yeah, keep it low risk. Eat clock. Let's like when we play all the ranked teams, they just want to pull them out in the deep water. Don't blow this game early. Let's get to the fourth quarter. And when it's 12-10, and we'll see what happens at the end. I think he was happy doing that.
And I think the key here is also that we're talking about this season in total at this point, like, the team as a total. I think with USC, things get different very quickly. It's, they don't look at us as a rival, but we look at them as a rival.
Right.
And, we're kind of the stepsister or whatever it might be. And we don't get taken seriously there. And, to me personally, I don't think there's anything better than an overrated USC team at the Coliseum with an underrated ASU team coming.
Right. Absolutely. And that's a fair point. And that's why I'm excited to hear some of your fan picks on what we're going to talk about as well. But
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So transitioning to defense. And again, new coordinator, new scheme, new all fun stuff. And is Merlin Robinson the linchpin of this defense? Or is it more someone else? I mean, I know we're going to talk about Jack and Chase and Ashari and Evans, but what about Merlin Robinson? He's getting a lot of attention. He's getting a lot of seriousness. Everyone's expecting him to return. But Matt, what do you think?
You know, all last season, after the games would end, I would go, did Merlin Robinson play? Was he hurt? Because he wasn't showing up like he did the year before. However, the way they used him in the bowl game, when they put him on the line of scrimmage, they used him as a pass rusher. Right. They dropped him in the coverage. They used him as an off-the-ball linebacker. Then all of a sudden he exploded, and you're like, oh my God, yeah, that's the guy. Right. And with his size and speed ratio, he could be the linchpin. I don't know how much he's progressed or exactly how they're going to deploy him in the 4-3 if they're going to keep moving him around like they did. But the way they played him against Florida State was I think a sign of things to come for him.
That wasn't a Danny Gonzalez defense either, was it? He was gone, but Coach Gonzalez was
gone. So they kind of made a little hybrid 3-3-5, 4-3.
Got it.
And yeah, it worked.
How about you, Kyle? Is Merlin Robinson going to be the one, or is there someone else like the D-line?
I think Merlin could be. To me, it's Butler. Butler is the guy, the middle linebacker, right? As he goes, that defense goes. Okay. Because he's going to be the voice, and it's all about containing, allowing, same thing as a coach, allowing your guys to be your guys, right? DBs to be them, to be who they are in order to play well. Jack is different than Chase, right? Allowing those things to happen, but being able to control them when you need them, right? When you need them to be wired in and focused. So if he's able to do that, then, then I think the season could be terrific. But is Merlin important? Yeah, he's to me, I don't think he's the linchpin, but I think he's the X factor. Okay. Because if he has a tremendous season, then the defense is making, I think, big plays, right? Okay. Butler makes you steady, makes you solid, makes you consistent. Merlin can make the defense special because he can be used as, he was, as Matt mentioned, in these hybrid positions, do different things, right? Use his abilities rather than just stacking him and making him play off offensive linemen. That's not where he's going to be. That's not what's going to make him special. Can he do it? Yeah. But what makes him special is moving him around, doing those kinds of things. So I guess, kind of a twofold. Fair. Merlin's your X factor, and Butler's your linchpin.
Outstanding. Ms. Becca, how about you?
With Merlin, obviously we saw a different player in 2018 versus 2019. Right. And so, I really hope 2019 lit a fire under his ass and that he's not comfortable anymore. And if he has that fire, I think we can see outstanding things from him to the point that it will be a household name. Like he has it inside of him. It's just whether he can tap back into that and not get comfortable. And I think we talked about this, a little bit earlier. He was like the hot girl in Nebraska going to ASU for the first time, being like, oh crap. Like,
right, exactly.
Get taken down a notch.
That's a great analogy.
You're a Nebraska 10, but you're an ASU 3.
Yeah, exactly. So, we saw him be outstanding, clearly, obviously, in 2018. I think he got very comfortable in 2019, and I think he admitted that. I think he said that. So, if he gets that fire back under him and, he's being pushed, I think that, there's no limit to what he can provide for the defense.
And I had a question, and that's fair, right? And then I just had, here's a question that I had, and this is for all of you. And I didn't have this in our agenda, but do you think, how do I put this? Are 6 games enough for him to go to the NFL? Or does he need more of a resume?
Well,
go ahead. Yeah, I think you're the best expert to speak on it. So,
depend. I guess. I mean, I hate to be. It all depends on how he plays. Okay. Right. Again, Becca said it. Where is his passion? Where do they see? I don't think his gifts, right, are in doubt, and I think there are skills that are in doubt. Where will he fit in is in doubt. And what do? You use him in different ways to showcase. And I think, again, as we have found, what does what did Herm and Ray Anderson mean about how they're going to run this program? Those are the things that do that. They understand that piece of it for sure. So that is, we'll see if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if he has 6 games that are all like the bowl game, yeah, he'll be out of here. It won't even be a question. But if it's 6 games and they're like 2019 the rest of the year, no, I don't see how.
Right. That's fair. Okay. That kind of just popped into the conversation. I'm like, is he going to be ready after 6 games? So that's going to be curious. So now, the more and more I think about this, did you have a question? Okay, got it.
He wasn't healthy, I don't think, completely last year either.
I don't think so. I think he had some. I think his dad died, and I think his dad passed and stuff. So there was a number of things going on last year.
And look, as a guy who's been banged up, like that's important too. So I mean, while 6 games, that's half a season. That's half a normal season. So that doesn't really show that you are, that you're going to be able to make it through. Right. And I'm not saying that. I mean, he played all last year, but again, he's been banged up, and so being able to come back, the fire. Right. And be consistent and used in different ways, man, I'd want to showcase as many games as possible, just again, bigger body of work. And then for the NFL, better, I think, than any other sport, that's as important as anything.
Excellent. Okay. Makes sense. And so next, moving on right to the next group. And so I kind of was write this down. And the more and more I read and look and just even watching games, the more and more annoyed I get by this. With the Jack Jones, Chase Lucas combo, or even the Asari Crosswell and the Evans combination. It's just, are these the 2 most highly underappreciated pairs in all of college football? Ms. Becca, what do you think?
Well, I just think, obviously I feel there's a bias against Pac-12 in general. We don't get all the appreciation we deserve.
Right.
But Chase Lucas is a star. He's excellent. He's very, very good. And anyone who watches college football should know that.
Right.
I don't think anyone, especially ASU, gets the credit that they deserve. So, I mean, I just think that's where we thrive, though. That's where ASU thrives. That's when we are killing it, is when they're underappreciated. Tell them they suck. Tell them that they don't deserve national attention, and watch them light up the field. Let's do it. So that's my personal.
Got it. And actually, that sparked another question, but I'll go from there. Kyle, what about you, sir? Are all 4 of them kind of like an underappreciated set?
I would. I mean, with how they finished the season, for sure. I mean, they're not going to be. I mean, Becca's right. There's, regardless of how talented you are, if you're playing in the Pac-12 right now, you are not looked at as the same as other parts of the country, and that's people can dispute that, but that's just fact. Because if you say you play in the Pac, people are going to say, well, it's not this, it's not that. So, I would imagine, again, and I haven't watched enough of Chase or Jack or all 4 of them, and I don't watch DBs enough, to be honest.
Fair. That's all right.
Personally offended.
But I mean, they're not guys you hear about.
Right.
And I don't, again, Becca's right. Chase is as good of a college corner as I have seen on, this year for sure, that I've seen on the field. So I would say yes.
Okay.
Hesitantly.
And that being underappreciated, right? But this is another question, and Matt, I didn't want to, but to that point, right? Are they underappreciated? But also building on that, other than winning, right? What do you think any one of those 4 players has to do in order to kind of be in the national spotlight during the USC game, right? What do you go ahead?
I think for me, if you were building 2 corners, you would make them look like, Chase Lucas and Jock Jones. Both of them are super competitive, fiery. They both kind of play with a little chip on their shoulder. They're a little mouthy, kind of like I like corners that talk a little stuff.
As long as it's not on the sideline after a play like last year against Oregon.
Yeah, leave it out there, but get in the receivers' heads. I like that stuff.
Right. Yep.
I think what would make them the reason why they don't get the recognition that they deserve, and what we'll see what happens in the USC game. They're never both on at the same time. There'll be a game where Chase is getting dragged, but they can't throw at Jock Jones at all.
Right.
Or they're picking on Jock Jones, but Chase has this guy on lock. We never see both
Got it.
at the same time. So it's really hard to say like you're both elite corners when one guy gets picked on and
That's fair.
teams feel like they can go at him.
Right.
Crosswell, I think, is a beast, but I think he was kind of caught up in the old system. They used 3 safeties, so they always had Fields out there. There was him out there. They'd use one of the Markhams.
Oh, the Markham twins.
A lot of guys, they'd cycle through. And then he dropped so many interceptions his freshman year.
Yeah.
But the way that guy's come on last year, I don't think it'll be too long before he becomes a household name.
Absolutely. And that's definitely a blessing of talent at that position. I mean, with Chase being four-year starter, and then everyone else, from a depth perspective, everyone else is behind him. So that's going to be an interesting position to see. But what do you think, and again, this is to all of you, and Becca, we'll start with you. What do you think they have to do in order to get into the national spotlight this next game, right? What could they do?
It's always beating USC. I mean, personally, obviously, I think USC is always overrated, but I actually think they're overrated this year, in the sense of also the fact that we have extra practice time on them due to California's COVID laws. I'm not saying that's going to give us a huge one-up or anything like that, because I don't know how big of a difference it'll make with such crazy circumstances. But, and I hate to say this, and this is very controversial, but I feel like if we have a close game and we pull it out like a Jill Mary type thing and it gets replayed all over national TV rather than just beating the crap out of them, that's almost better for us, because it'll almost be more talked about. If we just beat them, they're just going to be like, that's just the Pac-12. That's just the Pac-12 being Pac-12. And ASU is going to lose to Oregon State or whatever. All right, the worst day of my life. But but I'm just saying, we have some crazy game and it goes head to head and we're really challenging each other, and it comes down to a kick, or it comes down to a Hail Mary.
Right.
That's almost better for us than just destroying them.
Yeah, that's a brilliant point, because any USC lost is not, hey, ASU won. It's Clay Helton's seat is hot. Yep. Right. And then that's the whole chatter there. So that's interesting. So how about you, Kyle? What else do you think that ASU needs to do in order to get some, again, aside from winning, what do you think they have to do from a game perspective to get some attention?
I think they're going to have to make big plays. It's going to have to be big plays all over the field at all 3 levels, on defense, right? The secondary not allowing big plays over the top, right? Challenging everything, or at least if, they do give up big plays, everything's challenged. Everything's difficult for SC. Everything that they get is difficult at all 3 levels. And then offensively, they got to make, big plays, be able to run the ball when they want, if they're ahead, in the fourth quarter, being able to make those plays, but make big plays on offense and then make plays at all 3 levels. I also think if the defense shows speed, that'd be, that can do a lot.
That's the Zoom coming. That's all good. That coming. We feel you, man. That's working.
Luckily, my child doesn't speak. He's over here.
He looks like he's going to start talking.
I have 2 animals. They just walk on, 2 legs, Mike.
Well, see, I'm in the garage, and I can see my door in between my screens. So if they open it and I can make eye contact with them, they leave.
You're like death stare.
Complain all the time. Nothing's ever enough. It's like, oh my God. Is your life so difficult in Huntington Beach? Oh, you have a tough life.
Anyways, Matt.
Matt, what were you thinking? What do they got to do in order to get some national attention?
For me, it's exactly what Kyle said. You need the big plays. You want the recognition, especially nowadays. All the big plays are going to get cut up and not just broadcast out, but every time you swipe through Instagram, all the little sites that people have that repost the stuff, ASU will be on there. When you have these big hits or these 60-yard touchdowns or 70-yard interception returns, that stuff gets splashed everywhere. Right. If you're just muddling around and winning 13-9, you're winning in obscurity. So I think the big plays, the flash and dash, which it seems like that's what they want. That's what Herm wants. He wants more scoring. He wants more up tempo. And if that stuff happens, then I think that'll take care of itself.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I like that, right? Because again, we're all just trying to figure out something, right? We just want to see something productive. I mean, it's for me, it's just, I always tweet out, just to be silly, that I hope everyone has fun. But I'm more like I kind of want them to just be healthy and injury free. I think that's my biggest concern right now, but that's that's
And
not up to me.
illness free.
Exactly. That's not
Yeah.
5, 6, and I got him. Good. So, no, this is excellent. And again, everyone, thank you so much for everyone being in the chat and posting your questions. PJ Saturno agreed with you, Matt. The QB pressure will be key to those 4 DBs having a ton of success. And that's actually being up there as well. So,
Nice.
and Keegan Herring gives everyone a shout out. He just joined us.
Oh,
So.
Keegan. P-Town, represent P-Town.
So everyone go ahead, and we're going to have some of these questions as well. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions that I've submitted to the group as well. And so the first question, right, is leading rusher, right? So Kyle, kick us off. Who do you think is going to be our leading rusher in this game?
Oh, in this game?
Yeah. Not for the year.
Not that that's any easy, honestly. That's any easier. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I looked at the depth chart. Who's number one? Who's listed as the number 1 back right now?
Rashad White, I think.
Rashad.
Yeah, it's a JUCO.
Yeah.
I'll say him, right?
Okay.
If he starts, gets off to a good start, I'll say him.
Also, he's a JUCO transfer. I think he has a lot of good experience, and
Right.
so that's going to come in heavy. In a time where we are filling very large shoes, clearly.
Yeah.
Running back, and
It's interesting because
it'll be interesting to see how much we rush. Honestly, I think that'll be
That's a good one. Excellent knowledge, because I had no idea. 2, you may be right with if I understand where you're going, lean on Jaden to bring the backs along. So that's another really good point right there. So
For me, I think it's going to be Chip Trainum. I think that it takes a while to transition from JUCO to the D1, the big boy league. So I don't expect Rashad. I think it's Rashad, right?
Yep.
To hit the ground running right away, even though it's a running back. But Trainum, I mean, he wasn't getting recruited by Ohio State for no reason.
Right.
I mean, he's a big sledgehammer with speed. And so I don't think you have to kind of babysit him or handcuff him. So I expect him to kind of take the reins, at least in this first one.
Yeah, exactly. And you were saying White as well, right, Becca? Shad White?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep. That was mine. Yeah.
And then how about you, Matt? Leading receiver this game?
I'm going Darby. I think they want to.
3 for 3.
There we go.
I mean, it's kind of like we've had great success these last 2 years with a featured wide receiver instead of just a bunch of guys that catch 30 passes, 35 passes. Featuring one guy that explodes, and then the other guys that can kind of fill in the cracks. But Darby's next up, and he wants it. He's built like a freaking Greek god. He wants this thing bad. He's got the right attitude, and I think they're going to feed the ball to him. So
that's good.
I think it'll be that way all season.
And I just have to say LV Bunkley Shelton, because I finally got it right. I'm not choosing him. I'm just making sure I said the damn thing. Number of yards Jaden passes for.
Wait, before we move on from Darby.
Yeah.
I just was going to say, obviously there was another Darby on our team at one point, and the fire in him too. So if he keeps up with the Darby name, I think we're going to see some spectacular things.
Absolutely. I mean, he has a ton of fire, even from the HBO special you watch. If you listen to Brad's podcast, I mean, he's always on fire. So it's actually very exciting to see him as a captain. So that'll be a wonderful leading position. Yards passed by Jaden in this game. Ms. Becca, where do you think he's going to land?
So Jaden had 250 yards on average per game last year. And so I honestly, it's 2020. Things will get crazy. I'm not saying a Jill Mary moment, but I'm not counting it out. I think I'm seeing, I'm going to give Jaden 320.
Wow.
For this game.
Right on. I would like to see that. I would like to see a big number. How about you, man? Matt?
I had same thing. I think, first game out the box, I think it's going to kind of devolve into a shootout like a lot of the first week college games did. And we're equipped for it. So I think they'll let Jaden let it rip. So I got him throwing for 340.
Wow, right on. How about you, Kyle? What are you thinking?
I'm much more modest. I'd be happy with about 285, 290.
Okay.
I'd be happy with that too.
I'm sorry. I guess that's kind of where I would see him right in there and being, again, getting some big plays, but also taking what the defense gives him, right? And then controlling the offense, and so I'm really hoping it's more balanced.
Okay.
I hope they do lean on him, as Becca said. I just hope they do it I just hope it's efficient. Right. I want him to be at about 285, 290 at 25 for 28, something like that, with 3 TDs, just super efficient, and controlling everything, as we've already talked about. So that's where I would see that going.
I think they take that every week. 290, 3 touchdowns with another 80 yards rushing, 70, 80 yards rushing. Yeah.
I want him at about 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man.
You got him in this box. You got to let him out the box.
This is actually brilliant because this is what I wanted to know, right?
But see, I'd rather those, if those runs are, I don't want them planned. I want those yards to come from his creativity, because I think otherwise you are putting him in a box at times because you're not allowing him, right, to do some of the things, not that you don't have zone read, but let him drop back, right? Let him see and let him attack and do the things and be creative that way.
Right.
Because I just don't want him, I don't want him to get
I agree. I think it's a thin line between how the Cardinals use Kyler Murray. When they do his design runs, they've got 10 guys blocking for him. There's no debate on, you got to read this and if then, and no, everybody's blocking, get down when you get close to the defender. Not the same with how the Patriots use Cam Newton, where he's just a sledgehammer pounding into defenders over and over and over. Right. So it is a fine line. I don't want to see him get beat up like that either.
And that's a good question, right? Because that kind of just worked. Do you think that, again, he was a number 2 rusher last year behind Eno, right? Is that, again, something that we want to see this year? Or like you said, do we want him to be more creative where he doesn't have to use his legs to get those yards? That makes sense?
Yeah, I think that's part of why they got the backs that they did.
Okay.
They don't have to. I think that's the whole point, is that
let him do what he does best.
Part of what they did,
successful.
Use him very sparingly. When you really need plays, you need plays to be made, do it then. Otherwise, you got 4 backs, 5, use them, right? That's what those guys do. Let him, there's nobody else who's going to be him, right? And be able to do the things that we've seen him do and have the command that he's going to have, because he clearly has the command, of the offense, and it seems as if the team. So that makes a difference. And so I think that all goes into that decision making. But when you got 4 backs, use the 4 backs. Let them be. Let them get you those yards. But again, that's not to say not use him. I just would use him sparingly for those things.
Got it.
Right? Or the threat of him. Maybe that's a better word. Use him as a threat, but not let him really, he's never really.
It's the Kyler Murray effect. It's exactly the same thing. He doesn't have to run, but he can if he needs to.
He doesn't have that shake, man. That guy, Kyler's got a different kind of shake to him.
Yeah, he's got some wiggle and some speed.
Well, the best, and again, I don't watch the Cards, but you're talking about it that way. So Ralph Amsden posted, it's like Kyler Murray runs like the kid where he says, "What is that? It's a knife," and he's just running, and he's all stocky and this little kid. So anyway, it's a great.
The thing is, Kyler knows how to slide though from baseball, so he.
Oh, got it.
Although I believe Jaden played in high school, because Jaden played out here in Southern California, so I think I've seen him slide.
Play baseball too.
He's not as good as Kyler. Kyler. Obviously, but I think
also got drafted to the MLB and the NFL, so I think it's a different conversation.
Yeah.
and then in that effect, Bander McGee always slid, but it was always right into someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Game MVP, Kyle. Who you putting game MVP on for the USC game?
I think it's Jaden. I think honestly, if it's unless somebody sparks, special, I think it'll be him.
Okay.
Again, veteran, understands, has played, knows how to control the offense and control himself. Again, once again, going back to Becca's point, he knows that he's very, very calm, not up, not down, and that matters. And so, he's going to make enough plays, to be that MVP.
Got it. Matt?
Yeah, no, I had Daniels too. I think there's a lot of talent in the other position groups, but there's so many unknowns. I mean, there's a lot of hope that these guys can come out and do what we expect them to do. But the one known quantity is Jaden Daniels. So I think, without a doubt, he'd be your MVP out the box.
Do you concur, Dr. Winn?
I actually went a different way.
So
I think Jaden was the obvious answer, so I chose a answer.
Wow.
I think it's going to be Christian Zendejas because I think it comes down to the wire.
Okay.
I think
nobody kicker.
And I think he's going to kick a game winner that's going to change the game.
Brilliant. I love it. And it ends in a game winner.
That'll probably be his one kick for the game. Extra points, and it'll be, he's the MVP.
Yeah, he's the MVP now.
Hey, kickers deserve love too.
That's like the Washington game that was like the Washington game we saw.
I'm not going that now. Kickers don't deserve that. Kickers are weird. They're weird people. I'm not all of them.
I feel like the Zendejas family deserves a shrine at ASU at this point.
They do. And especially
I have not met a non-weird kicker ever. Not one.
And who is it? Who's the other Zendejas that bricked the 210? Who's the guy that in 10? I think the Zendejas.
No, the U of A kicker that was he betrayed his family.
Yeah, he should. But he should be in the shrine too.
Yes. When he's the one that freaked out on the fan and he threw his helmet down and tried to fight the fan in the stands.
No, I don't blame him.
And they cut the footage real quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then for that,
I've ever watched an ASU game or anything.
No, exactly, especially that one. So then you get to do the score because for me, I want a ton of points, but I also want defense to be played. So I'm kind of torn as to what kind of score I'm thinking of. But Becca, what do you think the final score is going to be?
So they have us less than 13% chance to win this game, and an 11-point underdog, which is put your mortgage on ASU. I do not think that we will lose by 11 points by any
money. Maybe not my mortgage.
Maybe a little sarcastic, but personally, I know we play ASU. We play USC hard, especially at USC,
right.
Obviously. So I'm going 31-28 ASU.
31-28. Brilliant. Matt, how about you, my man?
I think my score kind of plays into what Becca's MVP choice was. I went 34-31. I can see it getting seems like when we match up with those guys, it doesn't matter who's ranked and who's not. They have a plethora of skill guys, and so it's always going to be a challenge. But we usually can always match their points too. So I think it'll be close. It'll come down to the last second field goal, and we'll pull it out 34-31.
Excellent. Take us home, Kyle. What do you think, man?
31-30. I think we'll hit a field goal, to Becca's point, Zendejas being the MVP. I think we'll hit that. So, be 38-28, and then we'll come and hit a field goal, win it 31-30.
So I even wrote down here my heart, because this is not going to do my heart condition is going to return the first game of the season. So not going to put me in a good spot, but no, I'm excited. I'm just excited there's going to be something that we get to watch. I'm excited that everyone's going to be there. And these are going to be brilliant picks, right? So we can do that. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's, again, to your point, Rebecca, I think that USC always gets the love because they always have the talent. And that's always,
and because they bring in money.
Yeah, so. And it's the whole talent. And they have the heritage and everything else, right? And it's just talent breeds destiny. Talent is destiny, what everyone says. So I guess that's what everyone's looking at. But, I'm excited again. Like I said, my brain says USC, but my heart always says ASU. So I just don't know. I'm just going to be happy to be here. It's always just going to be happy to be here. And I finally get to put up my sign here We interrupt this marriage to bring you football
Awesome.
season.
Amazing.
So I get to finally put that one up Saturday morning, so it's going to be a good thing. But Becca, Matt, Kyle, thank you so much for being on the 42 Social Club
Thank
and the
you.
first fan roundtable. It was an idea I've seen elsewhere. I think it's a good experiment, and I can't wait to have all of you back on another show soon. But let's go around the table. Matt, what are you doing? What do you want to plug? What do you want to tell everyone? Again, you can see Matt's name and his Twitter handle on there, but what else you got going on, good sir?
Well, I'm out here coaching during these COVID-19 days, which is interesting. Our last 3 opponents have been switched out because of school came down with COVID and the team couldn't play. So it's that's one thing you don't see at the college level. They'll just cancel the game and push it back down the road. We get 1 day's notice and we're playing somebody else and going out of town somewhere else. So
wow.
That's interesting. No, I think just follow me on Twitter. I always got good hot takes on ASU, Cardinals, football in general. And ASU fan base it can be fickle. They can be kind of scattered, but it's a loyal fan base, loyal as they get.
Excellent. Thank you. Ms. Becca, how about you from Texas? What do you got going on?
I'd like you all to send me prayers as a Cardinals fan in Cowboys Nation. So just as my team continues to dominate. So I took my boyfriend we went to the Cowboys game against the Cardinals and we destroyed them. It wasn't a great day for us in general. Great day for me, really.
Right.
So as the Cardinals continue, hopefully, to be amazing, keep your prayers for me and out here in Cowboys Nation.
Indeed.
Awesome.
And Kyle, how about you, good sir?
Just continuing to train with 5 as 1 with Blaze, who you had on just a little bit ago, and then just teaching, and then trying not to murder my children, as you guys got. Hey, every day that you see another picture of them means it's a good day.
Okay. They're already ahead of it. Exactly. And everyone, again, the ASU alumni Sparky Pep Rally is going to be Friday afternoon. I'm doing that with Joe Healy. Then we got a virtual Sun Devils Summit Friday night, and then we have the virtual tailgate Saturday morning. So thank God I took Thursday and Friday off. So.
Oh, also, Rob, I totally forgot. I'm so mad at myself for forgetting this.
Please.
For the game MVP, I forgot. I wanted to call him my standout star.
Okay. Oh, yes, that's right.
I should have put notes on that.
Exactly. Oh, I remember
also
that.
Trademark that. So
exactly.
Back in the day, for those who know, standout star. Christian, hope you listen to this podcast.
Excellent. So now I've written it down, so I'm going to have to go ahead. So everyone in the chat, thank you so much for being in there and being part of this. Looking forward to doing this one next week when we have Cal. Tomorrow I'm going to do a preview with Alicia, Penguin of Troy. We're going to preview the USC game, and then we'll have some additional conversations leading up. But again, Cal, second week, but go ahead and let's make sure we're all turning out. Being nice to everyone, being nice to those around you, and especially to yourself as well. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. I love you. I can't thank you, all three of you. Cheers. And everyone else out there, thanks for joining.
And go Devils.
That's right. Good night. And go Devils.